Hello and welcome to A Surprising Escape. This is a Discworld themed virtual escape room, originally designed for Nullus Anxiety 7A, the Australian Discworld convention. The theme of the convention was to be Ankh-Morpork, City of 1000 Surprises. My name is Danny Sag, and I'll be the Game Master today. Our players today are on the screen here, and I'll get them to introduce themselves. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Ilona. I've been coming to the Discworld convention since the very first one, and was one of the founders of the City of Small Gods fan club and the co-chair of the Adelaide University Unseen University Convivium. So very happy that we've been able to keep doing digital Discworld in the current interesting times.
I'm Hugh. I like Terry Pratchett. I've come to a couple of Discworld conventions. Sometimes I do acting stuff.
And you've already heard from me several times throughout today, but as you know, I'm Stuart and have been involved with the 2012 Unseen University Convivium was actually my first Discworld related event, but I've been involved certainly with the Adelaide Club and with the other conventions ever since.
Yeah. So before we get started, please remember that if you in the audience already know the answers because you've played the room in the last couple of weeks, or even if you think you know the answer, don't shout it out, don't type it in the chat, just keep quiet and let our players try to solve the puzzles themselves. However, players, if you get stuck and really can't work it out, you can ask the audience for hints or thoughts on solutions, but please don't give straight answers, guys. I will also be giving hints when I think it's appropriate. Those of you who have sessions coming up in the next few days or next week, now would be a good time to bow out for an hour because you don't want to get yourself spoiled. There will be spoilers and it'll make things fun. So I know that there's at least one person I saw earlier who has a session planned for tomorrow. So perhaps bow out now and come back in an hour. So this is a virtual escape room. I will be describing what you can see and interact with, and you just tell me what you want to do. Please take a lot of notes, and you'll probably need to do so. And occasionally, Natalie will send you a link with a picture on it, and I'll share that on the screen here for the audience to see, which will be something you will encounter in this room. Please also try to talk your thinking out loud, because even the most vague of ideas may help your fellow players make a connection to get you to your solutions. The rules are similar to a real escape room. Don't attempt to break anything. Everything does have a solution, and almost everything you encounter will be used to solve a puzzle at least once. So let's begin. It's been a wonderful visit to Ankh-Morpork over the last week. You've seen all the sights, from the gardens and menagerie at the Patrician's Palace to the latest comedy at the Disc Theatre, and some amazing eye-opening displays in the back alleys of the Shades, and you're glad you paid extra for the armed escort. Today has been spent looking around the market stalls of Sata Square, visiting the grounds of Unseen University, and gawking at the wonderful statues in the Plaza of Broken Moons. You're now wandering through the residential streets of Unreal Estate, mostly tenement housing with the occasional fancy-looking mansion. On one quiet street between two fairly standard houses for the area, you find something that's a little surprising. Through a wrought iron fence, you can see a park with several trees and other various ornaments that seem very out of place for a built-up residential area of the city. Halfway along the fence is an archway leading into the garden. Next to this gateway, you can see a sign on the fence. It says, "The Garden of 7A Surprises." 7A, that's the number that wizards are suspicious about. And given that the Unreal Estate area of the city is owned by the Unseen University, you can understand why they might not want to use the number the number that comes between 7 and 9. Your curiosity piqued, you enter through the archway and take a look around. The garden is surrounded on three sides by houses, 3 brick walls on the left, right, and at the back. The fourth side is the fence you walked past with the arched gateway you just walked through. Leading from this gateway is a path made up of flagstones. Ahead of you, in the centre of the garden, the pathway splits into 3 other directions, making up a 4-way crossroads. At the centre of the crossroads is a flagpole. There's a flag at the top, but it's furled up at the moment. The paths lead from this central point to each of the 3 walls, left, back, and right. On the path leading to your left is what appears to be a large rock, perhaps a foot tall and 2 feet wide, with a brass plaque on it. The pathway continues and ends at the left-hand wall, on which you can see a small alcove and hear the trickle of running water. A fountain of some sort, maybe?
Sorry, Danny, when you say left wall, is it looking into the garden on our left?
Yes, that's correct.
Thanks.
Are you drawing a map like I am, Alon? Oh, you're about to speak of them.
Doesn't work with virtual backgrounds.
Yeah, no, my map is also far too small. I'm realizing very quickly.
Yeah.
The path to the back wall curves around a tree and ends at a spot that you can't see from here. A tree is blocking your view.
Mhm.
On the path leading to your right, you can see a small statue on a stone column. And beyond that, the path continues until it hits the brick wall on the right. There's something there, but you have to get closer to see it.
Okay.
There are several mossy trees spread throughout this small garden in patches of dirt and grass that look like they've been left to grow wild rather than well kept. Perhaps the university's gardeners don't come here very often. Adding evidence to this theory is the pile of rubbish that you can see in one of the corners. People have likely thrown it over the fence. Such a shame.
Which corner?
You can choose.
So the front left corner.
Sure, why not?
So the garden has rocks, a
Mhm.
statue, a
Mhm.
flagpole, trees, and a water feature, and that's about it. Nothing all that surprising. You turn around to walk out again, but discover that you can't pass back through the archway. Some mysterious force is stopping you. On the inside of the fence next to the archway, you can now see another sign. It says, "Surprise, this is not the exit." Well, that's the first surprise for sure. Time to find the rest of them.
Okie dokie.
Can I suggest the first thing we'll come to will be the flagpole,
Mhm.
and then we proceed in a clockwise fashion? Or do you want to go random?
We can do that. I mean, I was just going to go in the order that they were mentioned, but either way, it's for me. I am happy to explore the flagpole as the first option.
Right.
Yeah, flagpole sounds good to me.
Okay.
Oh, let's poke it.
The flagpole.
Inspect. The word is inspect. It might be a mimic.
Well, there might be a Gru in here, given the way this is presented to us.
How dark is it? Am I concerned of Gru attack?
You reach a maze of twisty passages all alike.
Apparently so. So the flagpole, it's quite tall. The flag attached to the top is just drooping. There's no wind to blow it today. You can't see what's on the flag. There are no ropes either, so you can't easily lower the flag down.
And I presume we can't climb up either.
Well, there's nothing to grip on the pole. You get maybe 2 feet off the ground, but can't climb any further up without slipping.
Is it firmly seated in the ground? Like if we shake it, does it move?
Yeah, a tiny bit, but not enough to make a difference.
Okay, maybe we need something else before we can use action on flagpole.
Yeah.
We could throw rocks at it.
Well, there was a rock next to it that had a sign on it, right? Can we read the sign?
Yeah, well, was that down the left path?
Left-hand path.
Oh, okay. Is that where that was? Yep.
Yep. So that would be our next stop anyway.
Okay.
Okay, the plaque on the rock says world's tallest pinwheel, designed by B.S. Johnson.
Oh no.
And indeed, sticking out of the top of the rock, you see a pinwheel, pretty much like the familiar toy that children blow on to make the wheel spin. The pinwheel is about the same size as the child's toy. It's hardly the world's tallest. However, it's built of a finely detailed shiny metal rather than colourful paper.
Now, can I blow on it to make it spin?
The blades of the pinwheel don't seem to turn no matter how hard you blow on them.
What if we give it just a bit of a spin manually? Can we give it a flick with a finger?
The blades of the pinwheel don't even turn when you push them. They appear stuck. There must be another way to make them turn.
Okay, interesting. Can we pick up the pinwheel?
You try to pick it up, but it's stuck within the rock. It stays where it is.
And if you can pull it out, that proves you're the true king of England, right?
Or at least the king of Unk, in which case Vimes will arrest you.
Yeah. I like my head where it is, so I'm not going to try too hard to extricate it. Okay.
Keep going down the path and see what's in that little alcove where the water sound is coming from.
Sure.
It might be a hydraulic pinwheel.
Just before we, I like that thinking, but just before we move on there, is there anything other than the plaque and the pinwheel in this location?
No.
Okay, then yes, let's move on.
Set into the left-hand wall is a small alcove at waist height, and at the top of the alcove is a small pipe. Out of the pipe, water is trickling down into a pool at the base of the alcove. It's a pretty disappointing fountain and not out of place in any sort of public garden. There's nothing surprising here.
Can we see if there's anything in the pool?
It's just water.
Okay. The pipe, is it being, can we see where it's being fed from? Is there like
No, it's coming through the wall.
Okay. So it's just, I guess, a pipe with water coming out of it into the pool. That's all we can
Pretty
see.
much. Yeah.
And the pool just seems to be empty.
no,
Empty, if
it's not
anything of
empty.
interest, just water's in it.
It's got water in it. Yeah.
But is the pool empty into?
You can't see.
Okay.
All right.
So is the water clear? Like, can we sort of see the bottom of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I put my hand in it and swish it around, it doesn't do anything.
No.
Okay.
The hand is wet. Now wet.
Use your wet hand to turn the pinwheel. Maybe that's what we needed.
I wipe my hand dry on Hugh.
Feel like you haven't played enough Dungeons and Dragons, Stuart, sticking your hand in a pool of unknown.
Well, I presume the surprise wasn't lethal. I'll be very surprised if I get eaten by a gelatinous cube in this garden. That would be a big surprise.
Okay, so looking around this sort of path that we've wandered down, does anything else catch my interest?
Oh no, there's just a bunch of trees around.
All right.
Should we have a look at some of these trees?
Sure, why not?
Can I just try one thing before we do that? Can I cut my hands and take some water and try that water pinwheel idea?
Oh, the water all drains out of your hands before you can get back to the pinwheel.
Okay.
All right. Well, speaking of trees as well, on the next sort of spoke of our crossroads, there is a tree in the northern bit. Do we want to look at that one? Because that one was called out specifically. Maybe it's a little bit more interesting than the others.
Not really,
okay.
but there are lots of trees. There are several trees dotted throughout the garden. They appear to be of a few different recognizable species. You can see oaks, ashes, pines, elms, and even the mighty larch. All of the tree trunks are covered in moss, and even the lowest branches on each tree seem out of reach.
Okay.
Where does the path go beyond the curve?
So the northern path.
Yeah.
Oh, I say northern, I mean the one that goes to the back wall.
Yes,
I'm happy to call that north.
Yeah, the only reason we don't use north is because it's not a direction on Discworld.
No, let's call it Widershins.
Upwards, yes, Widershins, whatever.
It's hubwise and rimwards.
Yeah. So following the path to the brick wall at the back, it just comes to a dead end. The wall is too tall to climb, and you can see that it meets the roof of the house on the other side. It spans the full width of the garden, meeting the left and right walls and the corners. Examining the wall more closely, you can see at about your knee height that a word has been scratched into one of the bricks. It says, dig. Directly beneath this on the ground, there aren't any stones, just a small patch of cold, bare earth. Lying on the ground here is a small metal disc about 2 inches across.
Ooh. Can I look at the disc?
You can. Natalie, can you send attachment C? And Hugh, I'd like you to describe that to people.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the disc, not knowing the size of the thing, has got a B in the middle, sitting on what looks like honeycomb, and it says, mind how you go across the top, and you'll need this along the bottom. So this seems somewhat important.
Can I
How
ask?
big is it, Danny?
2 inches across.
Can I ask about the point on the back of the B there, is there anything that appears special about the dot on the back of the B?
No, it's just flat.
If I flip it over and look at the other side, what do I see?
What would you like to see?
I guess the same picture and words, but in reverse.
Yeah, why not?
This is the negative B. All right. How sturdy is this little metal disc? Do you reckon I could use it as a shovel?
You give it a shot, but it doesn't actually make a dent in the ground.
Ah.
Okay. Just to continue with my trend of sticking my fingers into things, can we dig by hand in the sort of bare patch that you described there? How loose is the dirt?
The ground is cold and hard, and your fingers hardly make a dent. You're going to need some sort of tool if you want to dig here.
Okay.
But not this one. Okay, interesting. Well, we found our first item.
Mhm.
I'm going to name it B disc.
B disc.
The B side.
Brilliant.
We'll add it. We're going to have to go into our inventory management screen, I think, for this one.
Place it in the top left corner of my inventory management.
I think we should go down the final path.
Yes,
Let's do it. Yeah,
And
I agree.
There's a statue halfway along. So can we have a look at the statue, please?
Statue.
Did we go in the wrong order, Danny?
No. This is in my script is in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So I went from W, which is wall, back to S for statue. The statue sits on a stone column. The column is about 3 feet high, and the statue itself is only 2 feet. It appears to be a bronze sculpture of the goddess Morporkia, the patron goddess of the city of Ankh-Morpork. She stands in her traditional pose, holding a shield in one arm, with the other aloft holding a flaming torch. On the stone column below the statue is an engraved brass plaque. So that's attachment B, Natalie. Alana, can you describe this?
It's a plaque with the words, "When the torch is lit, justice is revealed, dawn after to grow tall."
Oh. Interesting. Anyone brought any matches?
I pat my pockets looking for matches, but sadly, having never taken up smoking, I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't smoke either.
No luck.
So, okay, when the torch is lit. Okay, where's the sun currently?
Well, you look back at the statue, and actually now you examine it more closely. Morporkia's hand is empty. She's not holding a torch at all.
Oh.
Find torch. I only say that because that's literally what I've just written down.
Okay, let's have a look at the mysterious something on the right-hand wall.
Stuart, do you want to poke this one as well?
I can see nothing here that I can immerse my hands
You are
in.
officially our designated poker.
You're a rogue. You check for traps with your hands.
Do I get a name tag?
Susan, with your fire poker.
Yeah.
So when you follow the path to the right up to where it meets the right-hand wall, you almost feel hope rise in you. Set into the wall is a small cast iron door, and written on the door are the words, "Exit here." However, the door itself is set 4 foot off the ground, and it's only 2 foot square. If this is indeed the exit, it's very small. You'd never be able to squeeze through it. Also on the door are what appear to be 3 numbers.
Those numbers are?
As you look closer, you can see that the numbers are on dials that spin. 3 dials, each which can be changed through the digits 0 through 9. Must be one of those newfangled combination locks that the Guild of Locksmiths invented in the Street of Cunning Artificers a few years ago. Maybe if you find the combination, you'll have your exit.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, the last thing to look at is the rubbish pile.
There's one other thing I'd like to look at after that. Let's go look at the rubbish pile.
In the corner of the park, a small pile of rubbish is accumulated. You can see amongst the debris a wooden tankard and an old newspaper and a packet of cigars. The rest is just muck that you wouldn't want to touch.
Those sound useful.
I would like to pick up the tankard.
The tankard is made of wood, something you've seen in dozens of taverns in this city. But this one is going to be useless to drink out of. It's got no base at all. There's just a 2-inch diameter circular hole at the bottom of the tankard.
I have an idea. I think you have the same idea.
disc. And I flip it over so that it's got the reverse bit showing upwards, and I try and fit it into the bottom of the tankard.
The small metal disc fits perfectly into the base of the tankard. Now you've got a cup with a base.
There you go, Stuart.
I would like to. I'm sure.
Before we ramble on to the next thing, I have written down that we have a tankard, cigars, and there was something else in the pile. Can I ask?
Newspaper.
Newspaper.
So you want to start with the newspaper?
I just wanted to know what it was. That's all.
Yeah, let's try our idea with the tankard, and then we'll examine the newspaper. How does that
So
sound?
I actually have 2 ideas with the tankard.
Oh, okay.
One is the water thing,
Mm.
which I assume is what you're thinking about. You can also use the cup to dig.
Ooh.
Oh, that's true. Well, let's try the water thing, and then try.
Yeah.
But do we want to properly examine the other items from the rubbish heap first?
Well, I'm happy to sort of carry those around, and we can try our water poury thing and see if we do anything there. And if that leads to more steps, we can go down those. But I'll just carry these for us, and then we can.
Okay.
Because I've got an idea for the cigars, but we'll deal with that
Mhm.
in a bit.
You haven't even looked at them yet, so.
And
No.
Hugh, did you have something else you wanted to look at in the garden?
I did. I'm just curious what the inside of the arch looks like, because I know that we tried to wander through it on our when we were caught in here in the first place. I just want to have a read and see if there's anything else there. Just because we've gone to every other wall, we might as well look at the last wall as well.
All right, so what are we doing first?
I'm
Well,
happy
we'll
to
have a look at the
by my
last wall
finger.
first. Like we'll finish our exploration, I reckon is.
From the inside, there doesn't seem to be anything visually different about the archway or the fence.
Mhm.
There's the surprising sign you saw before and nothing that looks like it's preventing you from leaving. So if you get closer than 6 inches to the gateway, you just stop. You can't move any further forward.
Okay.
I don't think I need to try to stick my fingers in that.
No, I don't think it'll work. All right, cool. Thank you. I'm happy now. We've done all the walls.
Okay, let's try the water.
Yeah.
Hugh, you are the custodian of the items.
I will
Team
carry
Packles. Team Packles.
I will carry the tankard over.
I'm
to the boat.
AKA the orc.
I'm the poker. You're the bearer. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will hand the tankard to Stuart so that if anything goes horribly wrong, it happens to him.
Yes, I would like to do the thing. So I'll go over to the fountain and fill the tankard with water.
Some water does collect in the tankard, but it quickly seeps out around the edge of the base and back into the pool. Looks like this tankard isn't exactly watertight. It'll need something to seal the base in place.
I see.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at what other items we have and see if any of them would be useful. I have a look at the newspaper next, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
It's a torn page from a months-old issue of the Ankh-Morpork Times. It's got a fair bit of dirt and mud on it, and it's quite soggy, but you can still read a few of the articles. So the newspaper should be sent to you soon. Stuart, do you want to give us a summary of what's in the newspaper? You don't have to read it all out, obviously.
Okay, so we've got an excerpt of the newspaper here. The first article tells us about sapient pearwood, notably bad timbered for timber, so that's giving me an idea. Counting pines, we have an article there on the counting pines, which involve numbers. So at least to mine, that gives me an idea about what we might be looking for when we need a number at some point. There's half an article about the wahuni, a notoriously stinky vegetable. A note there about the Cherry Blossom Festival at Boydong Monastery and what time of year we need to attend that to receive that. A comment about beeswax, which is notably a sealant, which I think is interesting. Although I will say I actually have a real fear of bees. So if I need to poke a bee's nest, one of you guys can do that.
It also that advertisement quite strongly reminds me of the B-side we found.
And then there is an article here about everyone's favourite Bergholt Subtly Johnson, aka Bloody Stupid Johnson, who I'm sure we wanted to check out some of his creations on our tour of Ankh-Morpork.
And which we are now enjoying.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got one of them here, right?
Yes. So there is an article about including talking about the Colossus of Morpork, the commemorative arch for the Battle of Crumhorn, and the Hanging Gardens of Ankh.
Mm.
And the Cruet set for
Cruet
Lord
set.
Snapcase.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I would like to, based on, do we want to have a look at the cigars as well?
Yeah, let's look at the cigar case as well and see if that contains anything of interest.
The cigar packet is used, and it's a popular brand, Pantweed Slim Panatellas. Looking inside, you find it's mostly empty, but not entirely. Inside, you find a chewed stub of a cigar, just one, mind you, and a book of matches.
Ooh, okay, I have an idea.
What's the idea?
So you know how Morporkia is supposed to hold aloft a torch? What if we gave her a cigar?
I think it's a very good idea.
Yeah, I'm happy to try that.
How many matches do we have in case this messes up and it doesn't work?
You have enough.
Yay!
Enough
I love having enough matches. All right. Stuart, do you want to do the honors?
Yes, I will, having been now wet and dirty, I'll also set myself on fire. So I will place the cigar in the hand of the statue of Morporkia so that the end is held up like a torch, and then I'll attempt to light the end of the cigar.
So you light the cigar stub and smoke gently wafts from its ends. It also seems to make a perfect replacement for Morporkia's missing torch.
Hooray!
As you place the stub in her hand, a larger flame begins to appear, making it look as if her torch is actually flaming. But then something odd begins to happen. The statue starts to melt. It appears that maybe it wasn't bronze after all, just wax. Morporkia is just one big candle. The candle melts rather quickly, with the smell of honey in the air, and the flame is soon extinguished. You can now see the top of the stone column where the statue, or candle, once stood, and is covered in soft wax, and there appears to be something underneath the wax, a word of some sort.
So clear the wax off and use it to seal the tankard.
All right, one bit at a time. You scrape off some of the soft wax. It's pretty decent stuff, beeswax, you suspect. Beneath the wax on the top of the column, you can now make out the word surprise. You
I was
also
certainly
notice
surprised by that.
You also notice that the wax has dripped down the side of the column as well, over the plaque beneath.
Ooh.
Some of the words and letters are now covered up. And it now looks like this. Alona, can you describe this to us?
Aha.
The plaque now reads, "Just add water to grow tall." Because it's the world's tallest pinwheel, so we do have to add water to it.
We are on the same wavelength, Alana. It's absolutely where I was thinking. Yes, brilliant.
So I would like to use some of the wax from the thing to seal the coin into the bottom of the tankard.
You smear some of the soft beeswax from the melted statue around the base of the tankard. It looks to create a good seal.
And now I'd like to move back over to the disappointing water feature and try and do the thing.
Gosh, can you imagine how much fun this would be if it was a
Real
physical escape room and we're running around getting water? This is such a good one, Danny.
Oh, it's all magic, that's why.
Such a good one.
You collect some water in the tankard. The wax seems to have done the trick to seal the base in place. So now you can carry water around the garden without losing too much of it.
Hooray.
Pour it on the pinwheel.
Pour it on the pinwheel. Yep.
Yeah.
Following the instructions from the statue's plaque, you add water to the pinwheel. And as you do so, you hear a rumbling and quickly step back. Rapidly, the pinwheel grows to be extremely tall and the rock itself splits open. It really now is the world's tallest pinwheel. Looking up, you can see that the head of the pinwheel faces the flagpole, and it's only a few feet away. Examining the giant pinwheel more closely now, you see the word surprise embossed on its metal body at head height. And just below this is a wheel with a handle attached. You try the handle and notice that it freely spins in either direction. But as you turn it, nothing happens with the top of the pinwheel.
Ah.
Oh,
It also appears that the splitting of the rock has dislodged the plaque completely. Picking it up, you can see that there's more writing on the back of the plaque
Ooh.
you hadn't seen before. Stuart, would you like to read this out, please?
sure thing.
Wrong one.
Or
No,
is
that's
it?
right.
Oh,
Oh, hang on. Wind for ward for back, ward for wind.
Wind
For-
forward for.
Yeah.
Maybe this is one of those situations like the Walking Dead door with "Don't Dead" open inside. Is there a way for us to translate it in that way? Mind you, that ends with wind ward 4444 back wind.
I mean, it could be wind or it could be wind.
Wind.
This is
Yeah.
true. This
So
is very
I'm
true.
pretty sure it's both. I'm pretty sure one of them is wind and wind forward for wind, wind backward for like something along those lines.
Yeah, but when we do the spinny on the, and yes, do the spinny is the technical term, on the pinwheel, it just sort of goes and it doesn't matter which way. Do wind either way. Is that right, Danny?
Yeah, it's fairly loose at this point. You need to do something specific.
Okay.
Wind 4 times forward and 4 times
Ooh.
backwards for wind.
Ooh, that's cool. I like that
Yeah.
idea.
I'd like to try that. Yes.
Winding the wheel 4 forward and 4 backward does indeed make wind.
Yay!
Hey, well done.
The top of the pinwheel starts to spin and a wind is blown towards the flagpole. This causes the flag to start fluttering in the wind. There is a clink as something flies out of the unfurled flag and lands on the ground at the base of the flagpole.
Is it a trowel?
Can I collect it and add it to my pack of items?
You can. It is a small key.
Hey.
Key. Oh, keys are
A
always
key.
Okay.
good.
I
An
will
escape
note-
room, a key is always good. Can I look at the flag? What's on the flag?
Peering up at the flag, you can see its unusual design. All right, Stuart, would you like to describe the flag once?
I certainly can.
Hey.
Okay, the flag has 4 trees on it. It says "Surprise, half the count." It's a green banner with 4. I'll say happy little generic trees. I'm sure they're happy trees.
They are pine trees.
They are pine
And
trees.
we just had an article in a newspaper about counting pines.
Yeah.
And
Half the
it does
count.
say half the count, so presumably that'll give us half the number of trees in the garden might be the thing. We could also look at the flag and say
Or-
2 is the number.
Well, can we see if any of the trees in the garden are counting pines, Danny, based on the description in the newspaper that we've just read?
All right, you count all the trees. There's 18 of them.
18.
4 of them happen to be pine trees.
And 4 pines. Do we get to know the other varieties and their numbers, or is that
You
relevant?
can if you like.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay, there are 2 oaks,
2.
5 elms,
Was that 5 elms?
yes, 4 ashes, 4 pines, as I said before, and 3 larches.
Okay.
Let's go look at the pine trees.
Yep,
More
they're all covered
closely.
in moss.
Can we scrape the moss away?
Sure. After much effort, you pull away a lot of moss. It's quite a surprise, but you find that some of the trees have numbers engraved on their trunks at head height, and they're all the pine trees. These must be those magical counting pines you read about in the newspaper.
Good job.
What are the numbers?
The numbers engraved on their trunks are 460, 511, 430, and 375. You may now bring out your calculators.
Half of that is 230, 255 and a half, 215, and whatever that is. 175, 182 and a half.
I think you're wrong because
Then
adding
we
all those
might-
numbers together is 1,776.
If I may ask just quickly, how many slots were there on the rotatey door? And rotatey is the technical term for us. Was it just 3?
Mhm.
The half of that is 353.
Oh, I got a different answer. So
Okay.
I added the numbers together. And if I could show my history on my calculator, I got a total of 1776.
Yes, so did I.
Yeah, half of 1776 is 3 7As. And it is
Oh,
7
so it is.
an A.
So it is. I had put the wrong number in.
May I go and input that on the combination lock door?
As you spin the combination lock value around to 7A, 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 or 888, it clicks and the iron door swings open. Can the exit really be here? You look behind the door, but just find a small cubic box inside. This was just a wall safe, not the exit. Inside the safe, you find a very small pot containing what looks to be a seedling for a tree. You also find a small shovel, which has the word surprise engraved on the wooden handle. Unfortunately, the shovel is attached to the wall of the safe by a small chain, locked with a key lock.
Betcha we got the key out of the flag.
I whip out my key. I try it and lock.
The lock comes undone,
Excuse me.
and now you can pick up the shovel.
Hooray! I add them both to my inventory.
Right. So the pot with the seedling, maybe we don't try it here, but I would like to collect ready some water from the wall in the tankard.
I'm pretty sure we need to plant it where the
Yeah.
sign said dig.
I think so too, but I want to have some water ready.
Cool. Well, if you go and collect water, I'll give you, Ilona, the shovel, and I'll carry the pot over. With
As
the
an archaeologist, I am very good at digging 1 meter by 1 meter precisely square holes, which I will proceed to do.
All right. So you're going to dig where it says dig. You manage to break the ground and dig a small hole with a shovel about 6 inches deep. As you look up from your hard work, you notice that the word scratched onto the brick has changed. Instead of dig, it now says plant.
Can take my pot. Chuck the seedling in the ground.
You gently place the seedling in your hole and pat some dirt around it with care. As you look up the wall now, the word plant that was scratched into the brick has now been replaced with the word grow.
I will pour the water on the seedling now that it's in its new home.
You pour a small amount of water over the seedling and then step back. As with the pinwheel, it seems that this water can make things grow fast.
Brilliant.
Rushing upwards, you make out leaves and branches and a trunk, but then the tree curls in on itself and starts merging with the wall. The wood curves itself into an arch shape and finally settles onto what looks like a large wooden door fixed into the brick wall. It's quite ornate and well carved, with a leaf motif around the frame. And picked out in the carving, you can see the 4 symbols that appear to represent the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. Around the top arch of the door, some engraved words are magically appearing. They say, "Speak, friend, and exit."
Friend.
The inscription above the door changes to "Surprise, wrong franchise." These words then disappear and are replaced by "Select the surprises." At the same time, a grid of buttons with symbols on them appear on the center of the door. And it looks like this.
Okay, we've got a grid. Ooh.
You describe those symbols for us, Hugh.
Okay, so we have what looks like an owl in the top left, an archway in the top center, a wizard's hat in the top right, a shuriken or ninja star in the second left.
Or a pinwheel.
Pinwheel, yeah, good call. A skull in the center second row, and a shovel on the right-hand side of that second row. Then we've got a pine tree, a candle, and an ankh in the third row, and then a hippopotamus, an archway, which looks very much like the entrance to the Mines of Moria, and then a flag in the last row. Well, we've encountered a few of these things, right?
Yeah.
So I think that first arch in the top row was the entrance.
Which
Which
did
was a
say,
surprise.
Did say surprise. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So-
pinwheel had surprise written on it as well.
Pinwheel. Can we have a closer look at the shovel, Danny? Does it say surprise on it anywhere?
It does.
I think it does.
It was engraved into the shovel's handle.
Tree.
Yep, and the candle, because
And the candle.
here was a candle.
Right.
The
do you
second
wanna-
arch.
Can you attempt to press these one at a time?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, we're just talking through. Yeah, okay. Well, will we start with the start?
I think we should do them in the order that we identified them.
Okay. Well, then the first one would be the arch in the top middle. 'Cause that's
Yes.
the
The
first one.
symbol clicks into place and stays depressed. Looks like it goes correctly.
Okay.
Then the candle.
Click,
Then the
Okay.
pinwheel.
click,
Then the tree.
click,
Shovel.
Shovel.
click,
We missed the order, but obviously that's
Yeah,
not
the-
important. But so the flag and the final
Click.
arch.
click.
So, okay.
How many is that? One.
That's 7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But
So what's-
don't we need one more?
It's 7A surprises.
Yeah, we need one more.
So we've got a bird, a hat, a skull, an ankh, a hippo, still unaccounted for. Try the more pork in the top. Oh, sorry, someone's
Yes.
someone's
But
throwing
that
hints in the chat.
it might be right because it was a statue of Morpork. Morpork here.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
All right, so clicking on the owl.
Yeah.
The symbol doesn't stay down, and in fact, all of the symbols now pop back up.
Okay.
Ah,
So we're not looking at the owl. Well, let's
That
look at
one probably isn't right. So now you have to start again, and you want to make sure you get them all this time
Yeah.
around.
So, surprise, we saw it written on the flag. We saw it written on the pinwheel. We saw it written on the archway. We saw it written
Both
on
archways, in fact.
Yeah, both archways. You are correct.
Was it written on the trees?
Do you want to start by clicking in the correct ones and then make a
Yes.
decision? All right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yep.
Both
Sorry.
arches,
Yeah.
shovel, pinwheel,
click, click,
candle, tree,
Click.
flag.
click, click.
So left over, we have bird, hat, skull, ankh, and hippo.
And hippo.
Okay, we know the bird's out.
So hat, skull, ankh, and hippo.
Is there a line somewhere in the books that death is always a surprise?
Not that I'm
Or have
aware
I
of.
made that up in my head?
Off the top of my head.
Hang on,
Okay.
let me go back
Um,
to the quickly to the newspaper article.
I would assume that it relates to stuff that we've encountered in the room and that we don't have to have outward knowledge. I'm just assuming, though.
Okay, have we seen any of these symbols around anywhere while we've been looking?
I'm just having a look at the stuff we've found. So the first thing we found was B-disc. We found that plaque on the statue. We have the newspaper. If you're having a look at that, Stuart, I'll just skip past
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The rock that we saw, that the sign came off that when the rock split open. Can we just go over and have a look at that sign and see if there's anything on that that might
That's
help?
the spin forward.
Oh, that's what it says on the
Backward
back.
forward.
Right, thank you. Good call. Okay. And surprise was on the flag, surprise was on the trees. We've already got those pushed in.
We need a hint, Danny.
Surprise!
Ah,
It's the candle, a birthday
Yeah,
party.
it turns out that the seventh day surprise is this one. I never said it was very good. You press the buttons for all the other surprises. So as you recover from this disappointing surprise, the door unlatches and you pull it open and you walk through. Strangely, as soon as you step through, you find yourself back on the street, outside the main entrance archway into the garden.
I go back in because that was fun.
well, I
Thank
actually
you.
want to go see some of these other D.S. Johnson landmarks that are in the article here.
Well, there you can. Mr. Scrant keeps them in his pocket. Thank you all for playing. I hope.
Well
you
done,
enjoyed
Danny. That
yourself.
was fabulous. That's the best virtual escape room I've done.
Yeah, that was
Thank you.
amazing. That was my first ever virtual escape room and I loved it.
Meg is asking, how do you participate in one of these? I'm about to explain some stuff. So the format of this escape room is highly influenced by the wonderful podcast called Escape This Podcast. It's done by Danny and Bill, who are from Sydney. I definitely recommend you give it a listen, and you can find their website on www.consumethismedia.com. Now, obviously, if you want to play these rooms yourself, you might need to get somebody else to listen, and then all of the Escape This Podcast episodes come with full room descriptions. You can download everything you need to play them. This one that I've run today is one I've written, and I ran it for several groups in the last couple of weeks. We had similar ones done at the virtual events last year, written by Miriam and Heath. So this particular room, A Surprising Escape, if you would like to run this for your friends at home, we will probably very soon put a link to all of the necessary materials up on the Australian Discworld Convention's website. So check back at ausdwcon.org, ausdwcon.org in about a week. And I'm sure we'll chuck all that stuff up there. You can run this room for your friends. So that's basically all we've got for a surprising escape today. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Alana.
I just want to jump in and say thank you as well to Amy, who was sharing all of those images in a timely fashion, both in a chat for the attendees and for you guys. So that was a really good job as well.
That was Natalie, not Amy.
Oh, Natalie, sorry.
Thanks, Natalie.
That's all right. So I hope everyone enjoyed that today. And that's great. Thank you all, and a good afternoon.
That was awesome fun. Thanks, guys.
Bye.